anyone that says a boring fight is a casual. Okay, no offense, no offense. Like, you're gonna take a little offense. I'm sorry. If you're a fan of the sport, okay, and you're not absolutely fascinated by the ability, like by Chimaev's ability to control someone who's as dogged and fights out of things like Dricus, who's done it time and time again, who's physically never gasses anymore, like super strong, has cardio for days, is prepared for him, has a great headspace. If you're not fascinated by like such a one-sided domination, man, then you have to be a casual. At championship fights, this level of control, man, we just saw someone get crucifixed for like 15 minutes. Like, how can you be a fan of the sport and not think, wow, that's...
Caio is signed to fight Imanov in 3 weeks. I think we can all agree that the winner of Caio and Imanov is the number one contender, but there's a twist. Dana announced that he is likely to take Chimaev to Abu Dhabi. So the first thing I did is grab the calendar, look at the date of Abu Dhabi. Well, it's in 9 weeks. But don't forget, the fight with Imanov and Brawler is in 3 weeks, so it would give them 6 weeks. We just don't generally see a turnaround like that. And then we would be seeing it for 2 guys. Unless we're wrong that Caio and Imanov is the number one contenders fight. And if we are wrong about that, there's only one other guy to look to, and that's RDR. And that is very interesting. Seeing how RDR could deal with the wrestling of Bo makes you wonder if he could deal with the wrestling of...
The night Khamzat Chimaev strapped the middleweight belt around his waist, the MMA world split in half. Some fans said it was boring, others saw it as the purest form of violence. 5 rounds of suffocating control against a fighter who almost never slows down isn't flashy, but it's rare. And that tone carried into everything that followed, because the new champ did something almost no one does after finally reaching the top. He walked away from the spotlight, brushed off the microphones, and just kept moving. Immediately after UFC 319, reactions started flying. Robert Whittaker clapped back at the boring claims, reminding people how unusual it is to see Darius Duplex get locked down for 25 straight minutes. Israel Adesanya backed it too, pointing out the insane level of control and saying the division was in safe hands. Some fans hated it, others loved it, but Chimaev walked away anyway, even apologizing to Dana White for not finishing the fight. Think about that. He dominated every round and still thought he fell short. And then came the inevitable question every new champ gets: when are you going on Rogan? The biggest podcast in the sport, a rite of passage for fighters who want their story amplified. But in an interview with a Russian journalist who followed him that week, Khamzat fired directly at the media cycle. In his eyes, big shows chase controversy, ask loaded questions, and leave fighters hanging when one soundbite gets clipped and goes viral for all the wrong reasons. To him, Rogan was no different. So, he kept that door closed. That refusal shook people because the unwritten rule is you ride the momentum. New champions usually run the late-night gauntlet, rack up soundbites, and stack their brand while the belt is still buzzing. Khamzat went the other way: silence, training, mystique. Some call it brilliant, others say he missed his shot. But only he has to live with the consequences, and judging by how easily he shrugged off the chatter, his fine paying that price. While the media argued, the matchmakers got busy. The obvious narrative was that the winner of Caio Borralho versus Nassourdine Imavov would get the next title shot. But reality didn't line up. That fight's timing was way too close to the rumored October card in Abu Dhabi. The winner wouldn't have enough time to recover, leaving the champ sitting on ice. And the UFC hates slowing down after crowning a new king. That's when one name jumped to the front of the line: Rainier Derrida. Tall, tricky in the clinch, dangerous on the mat. Rumors say quiet talks already started for October. Both sides seem interested because the matchup poses real questions. Can Khamzat ride a technician for 25 minutes without slipping into a trap? Can Derrida spring reversals and create chaos from just one misstep? If that fight happens, don't expect a wild brawl. Expect calculated, grinding violence, where one wrong head position can flip the entire round. That's the kind of chess game that makes purists lean in. And this circles back to Rogan, because he's always appreciated positional mastery. When someone is stuck in a crucifix and the clock melts away, he doesn't scoff, he explains why it matters. That's what separates casuals from diehards. His platform shapes how fights are remembered. So walking away from that MIC wasn't small, it was a conscious choice. Khamzat is betting that staying out of that noise keeps his edge sharper than chasing the trending pulse. Meanwhile, Duplex's corner wasn't quiet. His coach immediately promised revenge in a rematch and dismissed the idea of Derrida. The internet quickly called that out. If you couldn't adjust mid-fight the first time, how are you going to crack an even bigger problem with the same toolkit? Confidence is good, but tape doesn't lie. 5 rounds of being trapped is proof the champ demands brand new answers. Without them, tough talk is just smoke. So what would real adjustments even look like? Start with stopping entries at first contact. Hands fighting for inside control before the body lock closes. Feet that circle off the fence instantly, like the cage is burning. Add desperate wall walks that pair with strong wrist breaks to open space. Swap panicked scrambles for controlled explosions, then reset your breathing before the next exchange. Easy to say, brutally hard to do when you've got a human backpack that won't slide off. Shields Sonnen pointed out what's being overlooked: calendar math rules the sport. If the contender fight lands too close to Abu Dhabi, the winner won't be ready in time. And shelving the champ kills momentum. That's why Derrida makes sense. Right date, right style. This isn't favoritism. It's logistics. Keep the belt moving, answer real questions, and stay on schedule. Which loops back to the same lonely decision: how much noise should a champion let in? Khamzat has chosen almost none. No talk show circuit, no viral clips, no chances for a stray word to spark a week-long PR storm. He even apologized for not finishing, showing how high he sets his own bar. That kind of pressure isn't just part of his career, it's his way of life. And that's the root of his aura. Opponents feel it when they face him. Fans sense it in the rhythm of his fights. His story is being told in silence, and that silence creates intrigue. When you avoid the brightest spotlight, people start leaning forward, filling in the blanks, wondering what's being built in the dark. That mystery is its own kind of power. It pulls attention without begging for it, and it buys patience when the fights look like chess instead of chaos. Some will call it stubborn. Others will call it discipline. Either way, it forces the conversation back to what matters most: the skill set that keeps fighters stuck to the mat. If Derrida really is the man in October, get ready for a fight that punishes every slip. One lazy wrist fight could give up the back. One bad head position could invite a guillotine that drains your arms in minutes. The champ will look to mat return, break posture, and stack pressure until every breath feels expensive. The challenger will hunt for traps and scrambles, turning panic into a submission. It won't be a slugfest, it'll be a slow, nerve-wracking kind of violence. And if Duplex claws his way back into the mix, the blueprint is clear. Stop the early shots. Control the center. Hit Chami on the way in before the fence cuts you off. Keep underhooks, own head position. Force ugly resets. Make the champion breathe. But until they prove they can do that, no one's buying a different outcome the second time around. So here we are, a new belt holder who shut down a relentless opponent. A fan base divided between thrill seekers and purists. A first defense likely circling October, and the world's biggest podcast left on read. It only looks backward if you believe fame is the prize. Khamzat Chimaev isn't chasing cameras, he's chasing moments where his opponents simply can't move. Less talk, more talk. Fewer headlines, more sequences. He'll take the criticism, wear the target, and keep reaching for new levels. Love it or hate it, the message is clear. Welcome to a reign built on control, not chaos. If you want that belt, you'll have to solve a knot that only tightens the more you struggle. That's why skipping Rogan makes sense. He doesn't need another kind of battle when the real one is already booked. And when the cage door locks again, whether it's Derrida in Abu Dhabi or a rebuilt Duplex with new tools, you'll get the only interview that matters, the one written in the fight itself.